Most people with a weak glute med think they need to strengthen it through exercises like side-lying leg raises and banded lateral walks. And while these do technically activate the glute med, they're missing a huge component of what the glute med actually does functionally within our movement. You see, the glute med actually has a couple different types of fibers. The back fibers of the glute med are the ones that are more responsible for abduction of the hip and external rotation. These are the ones that we're targeting when we're doing those exercises like the leg raises or the banded lateral walks. But the more front fibers of the glute med have the inverse action in terms of rotation. They actually have more of a role of creating internal rotation of the hip, which is a big missing component in a lot of people's training. These front fibers of the glute med work to help secure us into a mid-stance phase of the gait cycle, where we are turning our pelvis towards that side. These work with other muscles of internal rotation to help secure us in that side properly. So what 95% of people don't do is train those front fibers in that specific context of internal rotation. Now, most people have a really weak glute med in terms of internal rotation strength. So a very easy introductory exercise would be to grab a very light mini band and put it around the top of your ankles. Also grab a foam roller and lay over it so your lowest ribs are gently pressing against it. This will get your pelvis and rib cage in a good position. Now bend your knees a little bit so that way your heels are pointing straight up at the ceiling. Turn your toes inwards towards each other and heels slightly away, but don't force it. Now, making sure that your knees stay in the same place, you're going to pivot through your knees and rotate your heels away from each other. And this is internal rotation. Go very slow and make sure you have a nice, even amount of rotation. Stop at the point where if you were to go any further, you're gonna feel muscles on the side of your hip, not like the back side glute area. If you're feeling muscles on the side of your hip, that's your TFL muscles. You don't wanna feel those. You wanna feel more behind that area. I would recommend doing about 3 sets of 10 to 15-ish reps to start here. But we also have to train the ability for the glute med to work when our foot is actually fixated to the ground, as it actually does. My favorite way to train that is with a band around the knee pulling out. So we have to reflexively push the knee in and then doing a supported step down. This supported step down has a very slight hinge to it, which is going to bias our hips towards internal rotation. And if you do this very slowly and controlled, making sure you're keeping your whole foot flat and relaxed, but you're making sure you're slightly tapping that other side on the ground and coming up in a controlled way, you're going to feel those glute med fibers of the elevated side work really well. You could even load this with a dumbbell in the opposite side hand if you want to create even more resistance. I'd recommend doing this several times a week for about 3 sets of 12 to 15 reps.